Nastasia here, also known as Keto Jamaican Girl. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and click that subscribe button, and while you're down there, click the like button too. But yes, today I'm coming to you with another what I eat in a day. If you watched my last video, you know that I'm trying to get back on the keto train after being bad. The whole story's in my last video. Go watch it. I'm not going to dwell on the past. But today I'm going to be sharing with you my typical what I eat in a day when I'm trying to get back into ketosis. So I'm going to start out with a protein shake. I did my workout this morning, about 30 minutes. If you don't know, if you're trying to get back into ketosis, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to work out, because that way you'll burn some of the carbs and sugars that you ingested. So that's the plan. I'm going to be eating right and also working out to get myself back where I was before. I'm going to start out with a protein shake. I'm going to do vanilla this morning, and I'm going to add some matcha powder instead of coffee, because like I told you before, I'm trying to lay up off the coffee for several reasons. So we're going to do that. And then for lunch, I still have some leftovers of the fish that we made together, so I'm going to be using that. I'm not sure how, but we're going to get creative. And then for dinner, we're having pork. I'm going to be doing it differently than I've done it before. So if you're interested in what I eat in a day, stay tuned. Now for the first meal of the day, we're having a protein shake, as I mentioned before, and I'm starting out with my coconut milk. If you already watched my last what I eat in a day, you know my process for making protein shakes, but I'm going to show it again for my new Goody Crew members. To the half cup of coconut milk, I'm going to add a cup of almond milk, and then I'm going to add it to my blender bottle. And then to the milk mixture, I'm going to add 2 scoops of vanilla protein shake. I know in the last one I made chocolate, but today we're going to try vanilla, and we're going to make a vanilla matcha green tea protein shake. Long name, I know, but I'm anticipating that it's going to taste delicious. So to the protein powder, I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of pink salt, and to that I'm going to add a teaspoon of matcha green tea powder and blend it all up, and then we'll be ready to serve. Now that my protein shake is well blended, I'm going to add some ice to my mason jar. You know I like to drink my shakes out of a jar because I'm country, I guess, but I'm going to pour my protein shake in, and I'm going to add a little whipped cream to make it cute, and then I'll enjoy. So this is my first meal of the day. Okay, goodies, it's lunchtime and I am hungry. Remember I told you guys earlier I'm going to be using the fish that we made in our previous what I eat in a day. So today we're going to be making fish tacos. So before I put the fish into the taco, I'm going to be making a spicy coleslaw. So I used about 3 cups of the cabbage that I showed you there, and for each cup of cabbage that I use, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of mayonnaise. I prefer Duke's mayonnaise. Use whichever brand you prefer. Now to the mayonnaise, I'm going to add about 3 tablespoons of jalapeno peppers. I like the pickled kind, and I get those from Walmart, and I use about 3 tablespoons of those pickled jalapenos. Now to that I'm adding about 1 whole green onion that I cut up, and a couple bunches of cilantro that I cut up. And to that I'm going to be adding about 3 to 4 tablespoons of the juice of the pickled jalapenos, because I like this to be extra spicy. And I'm not going to use all of this for lunch. I'm going to save some of it for another day, but I like to make a large amount. Now I'm going to cut up the fish that we have. You see it's still looking all crunchy and crispy and delicious. If you want the recipe for this, please go and check my last what I eat in a day. We made keto fish tacos. So I'm going to cut this up and prep it for our tacos. And then after this is cut up, I'm going to pull my low carb wraps. If you check my massive keto grocery haul, you can see the type of wraps that I use. These are about, I think, 3 or 4 net carbs per wrap. So we're safe within our keto zone. So I'm going to add my spicy coleslaw to each wrap, and then to that I'm going to add some of my fish pieces. Then I'm going to add some tomatoes for freshness, and then to that I'm going to add some chopped onions, not too much because we already have some green onions. Then I'm going to top it with some shredded cheese. You can use any cheese you like, and I'm adding a little bit more fish because we want to use all this up. I don't want to carry over any more leftovers. Now we're going to go on and make our second fish taco, and by now we should be experts because I showed you the first time, so I'm going to speed it up. So spicy coleslaw, fish pieces, try to use them all up, use some tomato for freshness, add some onions on top just for a little more crunch, and some cheese. And then to that I'm going to add the chipotle ranch dressing that I've been raving about. You guys got to try it, from Walmart, and it's not even $1. I think it's about 98 cents. cents per bottle. So you definitely want to check that out. So I'm going to add this sauce here. Instead of having to make a sauce, I'm just adding just a little bit of this dressing to my tacos. Then I'm going to top it all off with cilantro for more freshness. And guys, let me tell you, this taco was so filling and so delicious. Now we're going to go on to dinner time. I'm not wasting you guys time today. I'm just going to show you everything one shot. I'm going to season some pork stew. Remember my massive keto grocery haul? I showed you guys some pork stew I got from Sam's. So this pork is cleaned and ready, and to that I'm going to add some chopped onions, some green peppers, some thyme. Then I'm going to season it with all-purpose seasoning, and I'm also going to add some seasoned salt. I'm not going to be killing this with too much seasoning because the fresh veggies and the season that I put on it is just enough. I don't have to put too much. Now to this, I'm going to add some browning. This is totally optional, and if you are strict keto, don't do it. But in order for me to ingest the sugar that is in browning and for it to affect my my blood sugar, I would have to drink all of the gravy and eat every single piece of pork stew, and that's not going to happen. All of this meat is going to be used for my entire family, and I'm only going to have maybe a cup of the entire serving. So I don't mind using the browning, sorry. But if you are worried about being strict keto, do not use browning. You can just cook this pork as is with all of the veggies and seasonings. Now that this pork stew is well prepped, I'm going to let this marinate for minimum an hour. I had this prep for an hour, so now I'm going to get my oil hot and ready, and I'm going to take out each piece of pork. It seems tedious, but it's worth getting the pork well seasoned. So I'm going to add each piece of pork to my hot oil, and I'm going to brown the pieces. And I'm not going to let you watch me pull out each piece. But yes, this is the process I will go to get my meat well seasoned. And I'm going to take out each piece, and then once I get it all out, I'm going to stir fry it to make sure that each side of the pork is well browned. And this is what you have left after you take out all of the pork stew pieces. But you don't throw this away. Mark you, don't throw this away. So I'm going to keep on moving my pork stew pieces around until all the sides are well browned and maybe even crisp. But I just need it to be really cooked on the outside but not on the inside, because we're making a stew and we don't want our meat to fall apart. We want it to be well textured. So I'm going to continue moving around my pork stew pieces at high heat just to make sure it doesn't burn, but each piece is getting browned. And when they all reach the color that I want it to be, I'm going to start building my stew. To the pot, I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes and chilies, and to that I'm going to add our seasoning that I told you not to throw away. I hope you follow what I said. I'm going to add those seasonings now to the tomatoes and green chilies. You're going to see a couple pieces here that got forgotten in the seasoning, but don't worry about them because they're going to get cooked. Remember, I'm going to be stewing this meat, so it's going to be slow cooking for an hour, if not more, until all of the pieces of meat are tender. So I'm going to move this all around, mix it up, make sure everything has the same amount of seasoning and veggies. And then to this, I'm going to add some broth. I only had chicken broth on hand, and I am not going to the store for one item at this stage in our lives. You know what's going on in the world, so I'm not going to the store for a different broth. If you have it on hand, you can use beef broth, whatever flavor you're going for, but I had chicken broth on hand and that's what I use. So I'm going to pour the broth enough that it covers just the top of the meat. I'm not going to put too much, just enough to cover just above all of my meat. And I'm going to push all of my meat down into this liquid because this liquid is going to slow cook the meat and bring it to a very tender, pull apart texture. I added a little bit more broth here just to make sure everything is covered just above the meat. It's not drowning. If it wanted to, it can jump up out the liquid. So yeah, we're going to cover it. But I definitely forgot garlic. I don't know how I did. But I'm going to add a teaspoon, just about a teaspoon of chopped garlic. And I'm going to mix that all around. And I don't have to worry because this is going to be slow cooked. So all of that garlic is not going to be forgotten in flavor. It's going to marinate right into that. So this is going to slow cook for about an hour, and this is the product of the meat slow cooking for about an hour. I'm going to show you here the tender texture of our pork stew pieces. When you put, the way you can test to see if your meat is ready, you push your fork into one or two pieces and see how easily it can go through. So here I found one random piece. See, I can't even keep the fork in it. That's how soft and it is. So you see how easily it broke apart there? That means my meat is ready to be plated. So this is my delicious pork stew recipe that I use. I absolutely love it. It's full of flavor, especially since it's slow cooked. Don't rush the process. Make sure all of your meat gets all of the seasoning. And now we're going to go ahead and plate our dinner. So this is how dinner turned out. I made mashed cauliflower as a side. I've made it before. I think if you watch my jerk chicken video, you will see how I make my mashed cauliflower. It's really simple. But yes, I made that, and I also added some broccoli for more greens. You're going to see in my keto diet, I do not avoid veggies. I love my veggies, and I don't count it toward my carbs. So here I have some pork stew, cauliflower mash, and broccoli, and this was a very good, very filling meal. And I'm only going to eat one more thing for the day, and that's a keto bar, ice cream bar that I got from Costco. I'm going to have a Costco grocery haul coming up, but this one is definitely one to brag about. This is a sea salt caramel chocolate ice cream bar. I hope I'm saying it right. But yes, it has about 12 in the pack. You see, it has no added sugar. It has 2 grams, guys, 2 grams of net carbs. So it's totally worth it. I think it's sweetened with erythritol. It has MCT oil in it. It's perfect, and the flavor is on point. What it tastes like is like a dark chocolate on the outside. The inside tastes like real vanilla ice cream with like a hint of salt. And you guys know I stay on top of salt to make sure I'm getting my electrolytes. But yeah, this ice cream bar, guys, it was the perfect finisher to my perfect keto day of eating. This is how the packages look when you pull it out of the box. And guys, this is amazing. I didn't want anything else after having it. It was totally satisfying. So the hype is real. I've seen people try it, and I was so curious about it. So I definitely bought it, and I'm very happy I did. You're going to see a couple of like frostbitten, or you see little ice patches on it. That's because I had it in my deep freezer. So I suggest taking it out about, 15 minutes before you're ready to eat it. But it was a little hard because I had it deep frozen, but it was perfect all the same. So that's my what I eat in a day. Thank you for sticking with me. If you are a member of the Goody Crew, thank you for always being there. If you are not, please go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can be in on all of our keto tips and tricks and delicious recipes. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.